Video presentation for language and communication. We live in a very cosmopolitan city, where teachers and educators must be aware of the importance of cultural variety. We cannot neglect the fact that a society with a cultural and language variety can be beneficial in many ways. It is well known that bilingualism is beneficial not only into the cognitive but also in the societal aspect of a person. And language is directly connected with the corresponding culture. As Lisa Delpit mentions in her article, Language Diversity and Learning, the students not only bring their own language to the classroom, but also their culture. And it is intimately connected with their loved ones. Then, we can't ignore the big influence that the students' culture applies into their lives. We can't treat culture diversity like a problem and focus only on one culture, making the other cultures look like a burden, as Delpit mentions, to suggest that there is something wrong with the student's culture, an ignorant term used sometimes, as she explains. There is nothing wrong with a student who brings their culture into the classroom. On the contrary, Ophelia Garcia introduces the term metacultural awareness on her book Bilingual Education in the 21st Century, and it refers to an understanding of the distinctiveness of cultures and a tolerance towards cultural diversity. When a society has a cultural diversity, which makes people more tolerant and accepting towards others, our society can beneficiate of the tolerance and acceptance that cultural variety brings. An example that promotes cultural variety in the school is the school I am doing my fieldwork. It's a school that advocates to welcome students and embrace their cultures while helping them to acquire English. The way they run the class is with three students from different backgrounds sharing the same table, so each one of them can learn from the other at the same time they're learning English, which is the common ground. Teachers don't push the students to start speaking English at once. Instead, they let the students feel confident enough to start speaking English. Peers help each other to grasp understanding on the topics, and teachers assign a variety of homeworks that include the usage of the home language. In this way, it is a sense of inclusion for all, and rely on the help from one another in a sense of teamwork, an ability that later on in life they can use in society. But the connections from students to content area learning has to be well directed. According to Clara Brown in her article Supporting English Language Learners in Content Reading, she states that students have confirmed the fact that background knowledge facilitates reading comprehension, therefore, connection with their culture. This is directly connected with the student's schemata. If the teacher is able to connect with the student's previous schema, then the student has a higher probability to achieve better academically. I consider this to be the teacher's mission and responsibility to achieve. For example, one of the homeworks a teacher gave the students was to interview a member of their family in their home language and record it. Then they had to transcribe it into their home language, and the last step was to translate it into English. The questions that the student had to make to the person they were going to interview were about their background and culture. In the assignment, the students can connect again with his or her own culture and revive it. Then he would make the connection with the English culture and see the differences and similarities. Personally, I advocate for cultural and language variety. Me, being a bicultural, makes me realize that every culture has its own beauty, and it is available for all of us to get to know it. But also, being bicultural made me realize the gigantic benefits that one has in the personal and societal aspects, as I mentioned earlier. It helped me connect with people from similar cultures and break barriers in a way that I can connect with them in a more familiar level. Also for work, people who own two cultures or languages have more opportunities to find jobs. So I see biculturalism as a tool for progress. It is true to say that to value your own culture, you have to get to know another culture. It makes you appreciate what you have. Thank you.